So, welcome back. It is time for Real Talk, and it's my week again to pick the topic. So, I don't know. Judy's been really generous about that. It seems like I've gotten more topics than her. But anyhow, I have been noticing, oh my gosh, over the last few months, actually, a lot of things in the news about people reaching out to Apple to solve our tech problems. Not in a traditional way, but going, Apple, can you take responsibility for addiction? Apple, can you make the phone a little different so we can ignore it more? Apple, can you do these things?
Right.
And it's interesting. There's that whole piece of, social responsibility and everything, but that's not what I want to talk about. It just, seeing all that made me think more about my phone use, my family's phone use, because I do try to keep an eye on that. We don't want people getting addicted to devices, right, Jude?
Sure.
I mean, that's an actual, honest to goodness, full-blown addiction and all the levels in between.
Right.
And I go, I have no problem with that. It wouldn't happen to me, right? But I was using my phone for my alarm because I love the alarm clock feature. I love that. A lot of times I'll wake up just when the face lights up before the sound even goes off.
Yep.
And it never wakes my husband because I always hear it long before his, because I don't want to listen to those nasty alarms. He doesn't want to.
Right.
But I decided to move my phone out of my room and just did something else for alarms for a little while. And it was interesting because what I realized was that my first inclination when I woke up, when the phone was there, was to pick it up and just take a peek and see, was there an important email? What happened on Facebook? And I'm like, it's somewhere between 4 and 6 a.m.
Right.
None of that matters. Or I just noticed I'm tuned in to all the little dings and the pings. And if my phone isn't next to me, if I'm eating lunch, I'll be like, oh, and I have to stop myself from getting it.
It's interesting because when you say that, because it's almost as if our lives have become so entwined with our cell phone. I mean, we carry around something that connects us to the world 24/7. And if we don't have that tether, we're getting to the point where we feel like something's missing.
Yes, that's it. And that's the scary part to me.
Well, I had to laugh because, we never know what topic we're picking for Real Talk. But as you brought that up today, Jeff has been in the field. My husband's been in the field for
and for people who don't know, Judy's husband's in the military. So he's out playing boys.
Blowing up crap. But he was out in the field and it was kind of local, but out in the woods and things like that. So he took one of our battery packs just to have, be able to call if he needed to or things like that. Well, the battery pack didn't work properly. And he came home and he said at one point, he was so angry at himself, not because he didn't have a phone, but because he was angry that he didn't have a phone. Here he was out in nature, and my husband's the person that fought tooth and nail. He loved his little flip phone. It wasn't even a texting phone. He was angry when he had to move up to a smartphone because he didn't need all of that. And while he was in the field, he couldn't have access to the pings and bings, and he lost it. I mean, he was angry. And it's that tether thing, and it has to mess with our lives.
Yeah.
And
that's the piece. It's like, what? So, it just got me stepping back. And I guess I'm inviting you, inviting everybody who's listening to maybe, take this journey with me and feel free to hold me accountable. Come on the Mighty Parenting Facebook group and ask, Sandy, how's that going with the phone? Because I don't feel like it's a problem or I'm addicted. We don't have our phone at the table. When we have other people over, I'm not looking at my phone and texting, but like, is that really the yardstick I want? And it's not, because what I've noticed is it's that feeling, and you talked about, Judy, you talked about feeling like, something's missing or that we are missing something. Right. The ability to amuse or entertain ourselves. I sit in a doctor's office and I will tell you, I am the person who hauled a book with me everywhere. Now I haul my Kindle with me everywhere. And sometimes I'll have 3 or 4 books going because I have my business book and I have a Kindle book so that I can haul that with me easily. And then I have a physical book because that's what I wanted to read. But nobody is talking to each other. Nobody is just sitting and kind of staring off into space and daydreaming. If you have more than, honestly, I'm thinking it's about 5 seconds that you have to sit. Everybody's whipping out a phone to entertain us, to amuse us, to take our attention.
Well, and I'm going to kind of go a little bit of a tangent on that, because now you lose your personal connection. You lose that little chit chat with the lady at the doctor's office that might have kids your kid's age, and 5 years ago it would turn into a coffee and a relationship.
Yeah, how many moms complain, I have so much trouble making new friends? This is one reason. Not the only one. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying one.
Go to the playground, go to the indoor, McDonald's. We as parents, before cell phones and everything, we'd have to be sitting there and just twiddling our thumbs. So of course you're talking to the other mom.
Exactly. Yes.
And then you see your kids are playing, you're talking, you have a great conversation. Next thing, well, we're going to go to the park on Tuesday. You want to meet up there. And the relationship builds. Yeah. Now everyone's like this, connecting to their friends on Facebook, and they miss the personal connection, which only fuels the addiction of needing to be tethered to that smartphone. It's like a catch-22 evil.
Yeah, and you lose stress relief. I mentioned the idea that we don't just sit and stare off into space or just be with our thoughts. We always shift our attention to something else. Well, that downtime is when we would release stress or work through something, let the anxiety go. All of these things are getting worse. So, all right.
What do we do?
Yeah, I said people could hold me accountable. So what, okay, Judy, are you going to join me? Are you going to leave me hanging out there all by myself?
Well, I'm going to do something a little twist on what you're doing, because
you don't know what I'm doing, Chickie. I didn't tell you.
But what I try to do is about once a quarter, because I am on my devices and I've really cut back on having it next to me while we're watching TV or having it in my room. I have done that. But I actually am going to once a quarter go for an entire weekend without my phone.
Ooh.
I will tell my kids or whatever that I'm not on it, and if they need us, they need to call Dad, because Jeff has to have his phone by him because of his job. So, but I am actually going to disconnect from my phone once a quarter for an entire weekend.
Okay. So what am I going to do? One is I'm going to actually go buy some other kind of alarm clock, because I did start bringing the phone back into the room when I needed to have an alarm. And I had redone my schedule recently, which means that while I usually wake up before, I still needed one. So one, okay, I got to write this down. 1, buy an alarm clock. 2, I think what I'm going to do is pick a time during the day and put on my do not disturb function. Because same thing, that's my only phone. If I have an emergency, my kids need to get a hold of me. But the only thing that comes through on do not disturb are phone calls from people who I have highlighted and said they can come through. And if my kids call, I want to talk to them. That's not a device issue.
Well, and maybe that's what I'll do. I go to that extreme, so I'll do what you're saying, is just turn on my do not disturb. Okay.
So I'm going to give myself a daily do not disturb time. And 3, I am going to, for how long am I going to do this? All right, I'm going to say for a month, although I have to admit, see, this is ridiculous. It's making me a little nervous, right? For a month, when I am out and about and I just need to, I'm waiting for the Geek Squad guy to do something, or I'm waiting for the cashier, not the cashier, because I don't do that. But, I'm waiting at a counter, or I'm waiting someplace for somebody to do something for me. I am not going to pull out my phone. Okay, so I just have to laugh, because when you asked me if I was going to join you, of course, everyone saw that my initial thing was, oh, hell no, I'm not joining you in anything, because I can't commit until I know what it is. But
So I just immediately spouted off something that I thought I could do. So I'm going to throw out what I said, because let's be real, I will check to see if my kids call or something like that. I know myself well enough.
I couldn't do that.
So
home part.
Right. So what we're going to do is in the notes down below, you're going to write those 3 things that we're going to do.
Let's do the less tech challenge. We'll put it down below in the notes, but it's going to be the less Mighty Parenting, less tech challenge. We don't need to get rid of our tech. We just need to make sure it's not running our life
100%.
and our emotions and our health.
Exactly. So we will just do a less tech challenge, and we'll put all the details in the comments below and on the blog. We might even take this little real talk and actually upload this episode onto the blog so they can see our less tech challenge. So anyway, I know we could talk about screens and all of that, and there's just so much, but we do have to cut today's real talk, and I just want to thank all of our listeners for joining us today. Don't forget to hop on over and get your free gift on our website, as well as
mightyparentingpodcast.com.
mightyparentingpodcast.com. One day I will get this final little thing all good, but those of you that know me, you'll come to love me for all of my mess ups. But you can join us over there and on our Facebook page, because that's where we get questions for Real Talk. That's where we find all the things that you need and a place where you can connect with other parents. So thanks for being with us today, and we'll see you soon.